She said it. No sugarcoating, no Hollywood diplomacy, no carefully worded press statement. Just the raw, unfiltered truth. I truly hated him more than anyone I'd ever worked with. Sally Field, the woman America fell in love with as the adorable flying nun, the fierce union activist in Norma Ray, the heartbroken mother in Steel Magnolias, had finally named the one co-star she couldn't stand. And it wasn't some minor actor or fleeting encounter. It was Tommy Lee Jones, Academy Award winner, Hollywood heavyweight, the man whose very presence on set made her blood boil. What happened between them? What could drive two of the most talented actors of their generation to despise each other so deeply that decades later, the anger still lingered? The answer reveals something most people don't want to admit about Hollywood, that sometimes talent and respect don't go hand in hand, and that behind the glittering performances, there are real people with real wounds, real fury, and real limits to what they'll tolerate. Sally Field wasn't born into privilege or handed her career on a silver platter. She was born Sally Margaret Field on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California, the daughter of actress Margaret Field and stepdaughter of stuntman Jock Mahoney. Hollywood surrounded her, but so did instability. Her childhood was marked by emotional challenges, a blended family that never quite blended, and a gnawing insecurity that followed her like a shadow. I was shy, awkward, and never felt like I belonged, she once admitted. But beneath that uncertainty was a spark, a raw talent that couldn't be ignored. Her big break came in 1965 when she landed the lead role in Gidget, a bubbly sitcom about a teenage surfer. The show only lasted one season, but it made Sally a household name. Soon after, she was cast in The Flying Nun, a series about a cheerful nun who could literally fly. It was whimsical, light, and hugely popular. America adored her, but for Sally it was a cage. I was typecast as this perky, cute girl, she later confessed, and I hated it. I wanted to be taken seriously, but no one would give me the chance. She was trapped in an image she didn't create and couldn't escape. Every audition, every meeting, every conversation in Hollywood began with the same assumption. Sally Field was adorable, not serious, charming, not complex. So she fought for it. She enrolled with Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, immersing herself in method acting and pushing herself to grow beyond the image Hollywood had created for her. It was grueling, transformative work. And in 1976, everything changed. She starred in Sybil, a made-for-TV movie about a woman with dissociative identity disorder, and delivered a performance so raw, so emotionally devastating, that Hollywood couldn't ignore her anymore. She won an Emmy, and more importantly, she won respect. That role saved me, Sally said. It proved I could do more than smile and wave. From there, Sally Field became unstoppable. In 1979, she starred in Norma Ray, playing a Southern mill worker who fights for workers' rights against impossible odds. The role resonated deeply with audiences and critics alike, and Sally brought authenticity, grit, and passion to every scene. She won her first Academy Award. Her acceptance speech, "You like me, you really like me," became one of the most iconic moments in Oscar history. A vulnerable cry from a woman who had spent years doubting herself, years wondering if she'd ever be enough. That moment wasn't just about winning, it was about validation, about finally being seen. She won her second Oscar in 1984 for Places in the Heart, cementing her place as one of Hollywood's most respected actresses. She starred in Steel Magnolias, where she delivered one of the most heart-wrenching performances of grief ever captured on film. She played Forrest Gump's wise and loving mother. She appeared in Spielberg's Lincoln. She balanced career and motherhood, raising 3 sons while navigating the chaos of fame. She was strong, resilient, and fiercely independent. And through it all, she maintained her integrity, refusing to compromise who she was for anyone. But even the strongest people have their breaking point. And for Sally Field, that breaking point came on the set of Backroads in 1981. Tommy Lee Jones was already building a reputation by then. Intense, brooding, method to the point of obsession, he approached acting with a seriousness that bordered on intimidation, and he didn't suffer fools, or anyone he perceived as less committed than himself. To Tommy, acting wasn't a collaboration, It was a battlefield. And on that battlefield, weakness had no place. Sally, on the other hand, valued collaboration, empathy, and mutual respect. She believed acting was about connection, about vulnerability, about creating something together. From the moment they began working together, it was clear they were incompatible. Oil and water, fire and ice. He was impossible to deal with, Sally said years later, her voice still edged with frustration. I have worked with difficult men before, but Tommy was something else entirely. The tension was immediate and unrelenting. Tommy was condescending, dismissive, treating Sally as if she didn't know what she was doing. I had already won an Academy Award, she pointed out, the indignation still fresh in her voice. And he treated me like I was some amateur. It was insulting. It was demeaning. And I wasn't going to take it. Their conflict wasn't hidden from the crew. Everyone on set could feel it. Crew members described the atmosphere as unbearable. Long silences between takes. Palpable animosity crackling in the air. Every interaction charged with unspoken hostility. Some days the tension was so thick that people avoided being near them. You could feel it the moment you walked on set, one crew member recalled. It was like standing too close to a fire. You knew something was about to burn, and yet, ironically, their hatred made their on-screen chemistry electric. The film required them to share numerous intimate and emotionally charged scenes, and critics later noted the realism and edge in their performances, unaware that much of it was fueled by genuine conflict. Every look, every line between us was loaded, Sally admitted. I wasn't pretending to be angry at him. I was. I used every ounce of irritation I felt toward Tommy to fuel my performance. It was cathartic in a strange way. But cathartic doesn't mean easy. And it certainly doesn't mean forgivable. By the time filming wrapped, Sally had made a decision. She would never work with Tommy Lee Jones again. Ever. I couldn't stand being in the same room with him, she said bluntly. The moment we finished shooting, I walked away and never looked back. And she never did. Despite both going on to achieve even greater success in their careers, despite Hollywood being a surprisingly small world where paths inevitably cross, Sally Field and Tommy Lee Jones never worked together again. She made sure of it. Tommy, for his part, never publicly responded to Sally's criticisms in detail. Known for his gruff demeanor and disdain for Hollywood gossip, he dismissed talk of feuds as nonsense, refusing to engage with the narrative. But his silence spoke volumes. Those who worked with him over the years confirmed what Sally already knew. Tommy Lee Jones was difficult, demanding, unyielding, arrogant even. And if you dared to stand up to him, if you challenged his authority or questioned his methods, the conflict only intensified. Sally gave as good as she got, one crew member recalled with a mixture of admiration and exhaustion. She didn't back down, and that only made things worse between them. It was like watching two storms collide. Neither one would yield. Even decades later, as both actors moved deeper into their careers and their legacies solidified, Sally's feelings toward Tommy Lee Jones never softened, not even a little. I suppose he's a brilliant actor, she said in one interview, her tone measured but unmistakably cold. But that doesn't mean you have to like the person. I didn't. In fact, I hated him. The honesty is stunning. In an industry built on carefully crafted images, diplomatic answers, and the unspoken rule that you never burn bridges, Sally Field refused to pretend. She refused to play nice. And that refusal, that courage to speak the uncomfortable truth, is what makes her words resonate so deeply. People assume actors become friends after filming, she added with a wry smile. That's not always true. Sometimes you just survive it. And survive it she did. Sally went on to achieve even greater success, proving time and again that she was far more than the roles Hollywood once tried to box her into. Tommy Lee Jones, too, went on to win an Oscar for The Fugitive and become one of the most respected and sought-after actors of his generation. But their collaboration on back roads remains a stark, uncomfortable reminder of how creative genius can coexist with deep personal animosity. In the end, Sally Field's feelings toward Tommy Lee Jones never change. Her words, sharp and unfiltered, still echo as one of Hollywood's most striking admissions of dislike between co-stars. He may be talented, she concluded, her voice firm and unwavering, but talent doesn't excuse cruelty. I'd rather work with anyone else. That statement, raw, honest, and deeply felt, captures the essence of a woman who built her career on truth, passion, and the courage to speak her mind, no matter how uncomfortable that truth might be. Sally Field didn't just survive Hollywood, she conquered it on her own terms, refusing to compromise her integrity or pretend to like someone she didn't. She refused to let anyone, not Tommy Lee Jones, not the studio executives, not the industry itself, diminish her or silence her voice. And maybe that's the real lesson here, that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply tell the truth. Even when it's messy, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it means admitting, without apology or hesitation, that you truly hated someone more than anyone. Because honesty in the end is what sets you free. It's what allows you to move forward without regret, without the weight of unspoken resentment dragging you down. Sally Field proved that you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You don't have to be likable to everyone. You just have to be true to yourself. And in doing so, she became more than an actress. She became a symbol of resilience, authenticity, and the fierce, unshakable strength that comes from refusing to compromise who you are. No matter who's watching,